Is Sony going to release an Alpha 6700 anytime soon? What is good, YouTube? It's that one camera guy back at again with another video for you. This is a speculation video. I want to let that cleared out right now because it is not based on facts, insider info, or any rumors. It's all what I've got here in my brain. So, and I have not been told any other information. So this is all speculation, and I'm going to base what I think the 6700 might be on what's already out there and my own predictions. So that's what this video is. Jump ship somewhere else if you're not interested in that. Now, the reason why this question and video is coming out in the first place is because I've been getting a lot of questions from my viewers about, hey, that one camera guy, should I wait for the Alpha 6700? And my answer would be is a big no. And the reason for that is, one, there has not been any new information about whether or not we're going to see a release of a camera. And if you are without a camera, for example, then I would recommend that you just pick up the camera that you can afford at the time and get that and start creating the images and video that you want to create for your own purposes, whether that's business or for pleasure or for enjoyment, whatever it happens to be. Don't let the announcement of a camera that doesn't even exist slow you down from doing exactly what you want to do. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the Alpha 6700. Isn't that just, what's weird about it is that it doesn't sound strange at all. So let's just get this out of the way. People are going to ask, hey, that one camera guy, is there going to be a 6700? And the answer is yes. There will be. It might not be called 6700, but based on the track record of a6000, a6300, a6500, there's a pretty good prediction and pattern for a 6700. And by the way, Sony absolutely loves iterating their cameras at such a fast rate. And I can understand why some of you are concerned about a release. But just keeping in mind, the release of this mythical a6700 is not going to come cheap. It's going to be at a much higher price. So you might not even be able to afford it when it is announced and released. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the actual speculations. I got three categories: design and build, photography, and video. Those are my three core areas I'm going to cover. So, design and build, number one. First of all, I think what's going to happen is the 6700 is going to get a much bigger body. It's going to get a little bit chunkier. Now, the reason why I would say this is it's been growing. The actual body and size has been growing slightly every generation. You can look at the RX10 Mark II. When it jumped from the RX10 Mark II to the RX10 Mark III, the actual camera changed dramatically because they added a longer lens. So I don't think Sony is afraid to make the bodies bigger because they're pretty compact already. And by the way, even though the 6700 would sit up here, they still have their other cameras sitting right below that. So 6700, bigger body. The next thing is the actual battery life. The A9, the A7R3, they're incorporating the newer battery, and that has been a much welcomed addition. I can go out with just one battery on the Sony A9 and probably shoot for an entire game, if not two different games, and not worry about it. In other words, like shoot JV and varsity football or something and not have to worry about switching batteries out. On the contrary, with the Alpha 6500, you still got that small battery, and so what I think is going to happen is the bigger battery or the bigger body on the Alpha 6700 is going to allow for a full-size battery change, which is much needed for this particular series. The next thing is the actual movement of the record button, and I think from right now it's kind of on this edge here. They're going to move it closer to this area here and just give you a dedicated button, I think similar to what they're doing with the A9 and the A7R3. So we're going to go ahead and see a dedicated location for a red dot, because I think my gut feeling tells me they're going to really try and do a little bit more video-centric things on this camera. I know it already is, but I think they're going to try and spice it up a little more to entice some people. That's the way I would see it. All right, next. I think you guys don't believe me, but I think they're going to finally get a fully articulating screen, right? So far, we've seen in the past, we've seen some models of their series like this, like the Alpha 5100, where you have a screen that flips all the way up. So we haven't seen a modern 6000 series with that. Now, whether or not they find a way to create space to lift this up and not block this hot shoe would be great. And the other thing would be is if they can just go straight Canon style, fully articulate this way. Now, if they can do that, there's going to be such a big rejoice from a lot of the vloggers out there and people who want to create their own personal content that are going to love the ability to see themselves as they're recording. That is one thing that I think they're going to do for this Alpha 6700. The next thing is actually an addition of a headphone jack. Like I said, I think they're going to go geared towards video. So they're going to go ahead and add the actual headphone jack in here because the body's going to slightly change. And then they're going to go ahead and swap out the USB, the old one we have here, the micro USB, I believe, to USB Type-C to be parallel to that of the A7R3. That's going to happen as well. You're going to get similar updates to the screen to improve its resolution as well as the EVF, similar to what you've seen before with the other camera manufacturers. I don't think they're going to have dual SD card slots. You're still going to have the card somewhere down here, but it's going to be UHS 2. So that's going to do it for design and build. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm wrong somewhere or maybe there's something else I missed. Now we're going to go and jump to number 2, which are the photography aspects of this camera. I really do believe that the a6700 is going to be kind of the mini version of the A9. I think they're going to try and do that. So you're going to inherit a lot of the autofocusing capabilities that were featured on the A9. You're going to see them brush up into the Alpha 6700. The autofocusing system is pretty damn good already in this camera, but it can still get better. So that's going to happen. A big one's going to be the anti-distortion shutter. So like I said, it's going to inherit some stuff from the A9. I think it's going to take in the anti-distortion shutter, so things aren't going to look all wavy as you take pictures of objects that move really fast on the screen. And then as far as frames per second, I think it's going to keep the 11 FPS mechanical shutter, but I think electronically they're going to go up to 14 frames per second. Why 14 frames per second? That's just my guess. 24 megapixel sensor still. There might be some improved technologies, but I think it's going to be similar performance to what they've had in the past. Maybe some slight adjustments and tweaks to it. Similar IQ to the previous generations and improved buffer performance with that new UHS 2 card. That's what I see happening on the photography side. Let's go over video because I think this one's really exciting and I think it's the one that gets talked about most. Is it going to have 4K 60p? Now I know it was a big letdown. The A9 did not have 4K 60p. The A7R3 didn't have 4K 60p. Will the a6700 have 4K 60p? And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I think like they said, they're going to make this a little bit bigger. They're going to find a way to be able to drive 4K 60p on this camera, whether it overheats or not. They'll find a way to do it because like I said, this is going to be kind of their premier, kind of amateur, prosumer video kind of centric camera that I think they're going to try and price competitively against the GH5. So it'll be very advantageous to find a way to get 4K 60p on this camera. That's what I think they're going to do. Also, because of the anti-distortion shutter, maybe a faster sensor readout, whatever it is, they're going to reduce the rolling shutter on this camera compared to its previous brethren and get some improvements like the A9. By the way, the rolling shutter on this is not that bad. Shooting in 4K, it's actually pretty well controlled in my opinion. So other than that, you're also going to see the less dimming when you shoot in 4K. I don't know if you know this or not, but when you shoot in 4K with the 6000, 6300, or 6500, the screen on the back gets dark. But once you get the new battery, you're not going to get that screen dimming, which is going to be a really nice feature for people. And then for picture profiles, I think you're going to get the hybrid log camera that the A7R3 got as well. Folks, that is it. What do you think? Did you like some of the proposed features? Do you think it's believable? Do you think it might happen? Please let me know in the comments below some of the features you'd like to see or things that I might have missed. And again, if you liked the video, like it, subscribe, check out my other content. And with that said, I'm your host, That One Camera Guy, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.